What's up, PWHL fam? The 2025-26 season is here. Super excited for new teams Vancouver and Seattle to hit the ice. I hope to see some of you at Goldeneyes games. Recently, I asked my followers over on Instagram to submit a question for each team heading into the season. I picked out one for each team that I liked the best, and now I'm going to answer them in this video. Before we begin though, if you're a new viewer, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below and also hit that notification bell so you don't miss whenever I upload. Beginning with the Boston Fleet, the question is, how will the team make up for Knight's production? Losing both Hillary Knight and Hannah Bilka to Seattle is going to be a hard hit for the team. They have players that are capable of picking up the slack though. Alina Mueller and Susanna Tupani should be able to keep doing what they're doing. They also signed Chloe Orard, who previously had great chemistry with Mueller at Northeastern. Let's see if they can rekindle that. Jill Saulnier looked fantastic for them after acquiring her in a trade with New York during the season. Hopefully an entire season with the team, she can be one of their top players. As one of their alternate captains and playing a top 6 role, Jamie Lee Rattray should also look to potentially pitch in on the score sheet more. There's a good chance it could be her last season with Boston, if she wishes to finish her career closer to home, with her also being on an expiring contract. Let's not forget about Lauren Gable. The team's initial expectation was that she'd be one of the team's top players, but she didn't seem to fit in super well with Courtney Kessel's system. With a new coach at the helm, I hope to see her have a better season. And we can't forget about Ella Huber as well, whom Boston elected to draft in the second round. She was the second leading scorer with the University of Minnesota in her senior year. It doesn't feel like she'll be given a top 6 role off the jump, but she is still a rookie and can eventually play into a big role within the team. Expect to see her make a big impact with the team and be a key player in the long run. Granted that another expansion doesn't ruin that opportunity for the team. As far as the backhand pitching, we know that Megan Keller is a great two-way defender and will be taking over the captaincy. They also added Haley Wynn from Clarkson with the 2nd overall pick. Let's not forget about Daniela Pishova as well. She had a little bit of a down rookie season with the team, but it's way too early to give up on her just yet. The team plans to run her at forward as well as defense, which they did briefly in her first season. Remember that the Fleet just barely missed out on the playoffs in Season 2. Some may say it's a stretch to have them back in the playoffs in 2026, but they have a talented roster that's very capable of getting back there. Watch out for Aaron Frankel to have a career season and to walk away winning Goaltender of the Year. Minnesota Frost, big question here is, can they three-peat? The short answer is probably not. Why not, you may ask? A good amount of their players were taken away by Vancouver, 4 through the expansion process and then 2 more through free agency. With them qualifying for the playoffs on the last day of the season 2 years in a row, and them now having to build up a new core, can we really count on them to repeat again? Despite the losses, they still have a roster that can likely still compete on paper. They still have their solid goaltending tandem of Maddie Rooney and Nicole Hensley, and most of their key forward core is still around. However, 3 out of their top 4 D-core from 2024-25 is now with Vancouver, and 2 of them were in the team's top 5 in points, and the defense they brought in to replace them aren't at the same talent level. They'd love to see Kendall Cooper come in and be good for them right away, but it's hard to put such high expectations on rookies like that. And players like Mae Batherson and Sydney Morin aren't the same type of players that Claire Thompson and Sophie Jakes are. Even losing a player like Michaela Cava from their top 6 forwards may hurt them a lot, who opted to sign with Vancouver. She's been a champion for the past 3 seasons, going back to the Toronto 6, and then twice in a row with Minnesota. She may be the secret. It's a likely chance that their second-round draftee Abby Hustler takes over Cava's spot. Or they could run Grace Zumwinkle up there. She did miss some time due to injury, but a fully healthy version of her will want to produce the way she did that won her Rookie of the Year in Season 1. With 8 teams now as opposed to 6, getting a playoff spot is going to be a bit harder, so watch out for the Frost to miss the playoffs for the first time. They're still a very physical team though, so they're not to be taken lightly, but the prediction is for them not to three-peat. Montréal Victoire, the question here, why the unsuccessful playoff runs? What this team has lacked over their first couple of seasons seems to be a lack of depth. Both in 2024 and 2025, the Victoire have appeared to improve their forward depth in the offseason. However, this time around, it really looks like they did well to improve their team from top to bottom. They added 5 new players through free agency, those being Cheyenne Darkangelo, Haley Skamura, Jade Downey-Landry, Maggie Flaherty, and Jessica DiGirolamo. Funny how all those players came from different teams as well. Even their core in Marie-Philippe Poulin, Laura Stacey, and Anne-Renee Debienne signed extensions at lower salaries in order to bring these players in. That shows that they really want this team to win it all. That Darkangelo signing is one to watch out for sure. She's coming to the Victoire after having a successful season with the Ottawa Charge, as she really wanted to be teammates with Poulin. And don't forget that they acquired Abby Rock from New York. By sending Kristen O'Neill away, they do remove some speed from their lineup, but Rock is more capable of producing offensively. This team was good at regular season success, but come playoff time, it felt like they couldn't get anything going. Essentially, if you as a team could shut down their top players in Poulin and Laura Stacey, you could shut down the Victoire. Some fans wanted the coach fired due to playoff performance and reliance on their top lines to produce for them at important moments. They've opted to keep Chevry around for now though. What they don't want to do is to put all their top scorers onto one line, unless maybe it's the power play. The new players they added can play throughout the lineup, and what they need is all 4 lines to be capable of pitching in. What the Minnesota Frost have proven over the first 2 seasons is that 4th lines win you championships. Very interested to see the combinations that are run during the season. If coached well and chemistry is good, the Victoire will be able to get over that hump and win that Walter Cup. New York Sirens, do they have what it takes to get into the playoffs finally? Sorry Sirens fans, but the blunt answer here is no. All of Alex Carpenter, Ella Shelton, and Corinne Schroeder are no longer part of the team. However, they did make a huge splash in the draft, drafting the top 2 forwards in Kristina Kaltunkova and Casey O'Brien in the first round, although it did cost them trading Ella Shelton away to Toronto in order to acquire that additional pick. Interestingly, they chose to protect Shelton in the expansion process, due to the fact that solid defenders are hard to come by in this league, but then elected to trade her in order to draft a scorer. Scoring is where they need a lot of help for sure, and they now have a core of Sarah Fillier along with Kaltunkova and O'Brien. If they can build chemistry, the Sirens are going to be a scary team to play against in a couple of years, but they likely won't be all on one line, so remember that. Something to mention is that the Sirens seem to have plenty of games where they didn't put the puck in the net until the 3rd period, but they're a kind of team that needs help all around. As of right now, their goaltending situation is where the team is most skeptical. Kaylee Osborne had a pretty good rookie season as a backup, and has been on Team Canada's radar for a potential Olympic spot. But can she play at a similar or better level in a starting role? Expect a tandem to possibly be formed unless one is playing much better than the other. So with all this info in mind, and to answer the initial question, no, the Sirens do not have what it takes to get into the playoffs. But maybe in 2027? The Ottawa Charge, how are they adjusting post-expansion and can they get back into the playoffs? Due to the fact that there are more teams now and the team's losses, they don't look like they'll be a playoff team again on paper. The team opted to go a different route in the draft, drafting Russian forwards Anna Shokina and Fanuza Kadyrova. A lot of the top core from 2024-25 are still there, but they also lost a lot in the process. Both Emirates Mashmeyer and Ashton Bell went to Vancouver in the expansion process, along with Aneta Terlova and Danielle Sudakny heading to Seattle. Teresa Vanishova also opted to sign with Vancouver as a free agent, who is their leading scorer. The loss of Cheyenne Darkangelo may hurt big time. There could be a chance where we analyze her play in Montreal and think she should have stayed with Ottawa, but only time will tell. Luckily for them, Gwyneth Phillips has proven that she's capable of being a starter in this league, which she may not have gotten the chance to do had Mashmeyer not gotten injured. There's still questions about Katerina Mrazova, who spent a lot of time injured, and the new forwards Ottawa brought in haven't been proven. Is a player like Elizabeth Giguère really the answer? They don't look too bad on defense despite the losses. Drafting Rory Gilday was super smart. Pair her with Jocelyn Larocque. Based on the moves they made, they may not exactly be adjusting well, but they're adapting a different strategy by adding these European talent players to the roster. But they're not a favorite to be in the playoffs this time around. In that case, at least they'll be able to grab one of the studs in the 2026 draft. For the Seattle Torrent, someone wants to know how will anyone be able to beat them this year? It seems easy to think that given how talented their roster looks on paper, especially when you look at their first line of Hannah Bilka, Alex Carpenter, and Hillary Knight, a line that has played together with the US national team as well. Not only that, but their second line already looks really scary, with Julia Gosling, Danielle Sudakny, and Jessie Eldridge. The concern is how well the entire team will gel together in Season 1, as well as how much can the depth provide. They certainly wouldn't want to become another version of the Victoire come playoff time, where if you can shut down their top line, you can shut down the team. On paper, their depth already looks quite good, especially that defensive depth. They may not have multiple stars on D, but the players they have are capable of playing in multiple spots in the lineup, and can take over bigger roles if a player may be injured or not on their best game. And the coaches already plan to play all 3 of their goalies, being Corinne Schroeder, Hannah Murphy, and Carly C.J. Jackson. Schroeder is the true number 1, but the others will get their share of games and aren't just there in case of emergency. On paper, this is the team to watch out for and could give opponents a lot of frustration, but it doesn't mean they're unbeatable. It's going to come down to a game of IQ and poise. On to the Toronto Sceptres, whose big question is, with so much offensive talent leaving the team, who will need to step up? To start off, let's go over who the team lost on the forward side. Through expansion, they lost both Sarah Nurse and Izzy Daniel to Vancouver, and Julia Gosling to Seattle. Hannah Miller ended up signing with Vancouver via free agency. Additional losses included Haley Skamura signing with Montreal, and Laura Kluga signing with Boston. Not all of these players were top scorers for the team, However, Nurse, Miller, and Gosling are all crucial losses, especially Miller, who is the second leading scorer on the team, only behind Daryl Watts. To answer the initial question, Natalie Spooner is a player that fans will want to see pick up some of the scoring. She's fully recovered from her ACL injury and should hope to return to PWHL Season 1 form, where she scored 20 goals in 24 games and also notched 7 assists. Someone else that should want to be on the score sheet more often is Emma Malte. In Season 1, she had 4 goals and 15 assists, but in Season 2, that dropped to 4 goals and just 5 assists. That's a bit low for someone playing in the top 6. Because she's known to be a very team-heavy player, put her and Spooner on the same line. Her assists will go up. Now, not only will a couple of forwards need to step up offensively, but players on the back end can do it too. The team took a bit of a risk trading their first-round draft pick away for Ella Shelton, rather than using the pick to take a forward like Casey O'Brien, who just won the Patty Kazmaier Award and scored 26 goals and 62 assists in her final year with Wisconsin. Shelton will help the team tremendously on defense, but she can also pitch in on the score sheet as well, something the team needs more of from the back end. Savannah Harmon was acquired by the team in a trade with Ottawa because they were looking to improve the team's defensive zone breakouts. She should look to add some offense to the team, as she didn't score any goals in 2024-25, although she did score 1 in the playoffs, after scoring 3 with Ottawa in Season 1. If the team is in a losing position at the trade deadline though, Harmon should be a trade target. However, the team wants to win the Welter Cup, and the players mentioned will need to make big impacts to have a better chance of making that goal come true. It may be a lot to ask for the rookies they drafted to come in and make a big impact immediately, but it would be fantastic for them if they did. The forwards they drafted were Emma Gentry and Kiara Zanin in round 2, Clara Van Weeren in round 3, and Sarah Hjalmarsson in round 5. 3 of those 4 are 5'9" plus, so the team is trying to be a scary team to play against by adding these big bodies. Natalie Spooner also praised Hjalmarsson's hard shot to the media. Watch out for a couple of them to come in and show that they belong in the league straight away. Vancouver Goldeneyes, which position is their weakest spot? A very tough question to give a clear answer to, given the fact that they have quality players at all their positions. In this case though, the forwards look like it may be their weakest. This isn't to say that the forward core isn't good. The issue here may be that players aren't played to the correct roles and capabilities. The good part about that though is that you may not need to rely heavily on your top line when you know all 4 lines are capable of making an impact. Time on ice should be split fairly evenly if coached in the right way. But in the grand scheme of things, it will likely all boil down to chemistry. There's not a lot to say about this, to be honest, because it's hard to find a definite weak spot on this team just by looking at the roster on paper. They just have to play well together and not as a bunch of individuals. So those are my answers to some of your burning questions for Season 3 of the PWHL. I could have rambled on for a lot longer, but I cut it for the sake of time. If there's any other questions you may have or anything you may want to add, be sure to leave a comment below and we'll talk about it. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that like button. Let's go for 10 likes this time. And be sure to check out my additional content. YouTube recommends you watch this video. This is my most recent upload. Hit that subscribe button for more content like this, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!